Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I'm going to share with you, because it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, 2 of my favorite Thanksgiving side dishes. So if you like anything with sweet corn, this first one is for you. It's a sweet corn casserole. It is absolutely delicious and you can change it up in so many ways. The second is my signature dish for Thanksgiving. I don't know about you guys, but I get asked to bring the same dish every year. And for the past 3 or 4 years, I have brought my Brussels sprouts. Yes, my Brussels sprouts. And I make them a little bit different than the traditional cutting in half and roasting. There's bacon involved, so stay tuned. So to get started on our sweet corn casserole, you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And then these are the ingredients that you need. I have a mixture of regular canned corn and creamed corn. I actually creamed my own in the blender really fast. I have unsalted butter, an egg, heavy cream, baking powder, kosher salt and garlic powder, sugar, cornmeal, and all-purpose flour. I will have the entire recipe and all the ingredients listed below as usual. So I started off by adding an egg and I just gave it a quick little whisk to break it up. Now we're going to add our semi-melted unsalted butter and just mix that up. Just make sure your butter is not too hot so that it won't curdle your eggs. And funny story about this cream. So I had 1 tablespoon and I had to send my husband out to the store. So in a little bit, you'll see that I add a little bit more. So we used 6 tablespoons in total. Then I added the salt and the garlic powder, the sugar, gave that a quick little mix. This is seriously so easy to put together. Then I added the baking powder, the cornmeal, and this is where you can see it gets a little bit dry. So this is when my amazing husband came home from the store with more cream. Now I'm gonna add the flour and we're just gonna mix this until it is combined. And last but not least, we have to add our corn mixture. So again, this is half creamed corn, half regular corn, and we're just gonna fold this mixture together. Now, I was making a regular sized batch, but you can absolutely double or triple this for Thanksgiving. But you want to add your mixture to a greased pan. In this case, for this size recipe, I was using an 8x8 pan and it worked out perfectly. If you double it, I would recommend using a 9x13. So you just want to spread the mixture out into all the corners. Again, make sure your pan is greased really well. And then we're going to pop this into our 375 degree oven for 15 minutes. If you make a larger batch, you might need to cook it for longer than 15 minutes, but really what you're looking for is for the middle to be set. And it comes out and it is perfectly golden brown and set in the middle, and your whole house smells delicious. Next up, Brussels sprouts. So for this recipe, if you want to call it that, you obviously need some Brussels sprouts. And today I'm going to be making a smaller batch because this is just for us for dinner. I make this the night before for Thanksgiving, and that is still a little bit away. The other thing you need that is key is bacon. And my tip for you is store it in the freezer for like 15-20 minutes before you want to use it. It makes cutting it so much easier. The only other ingredients you need are garlic, extra virgin olive oil, and salt and pepper. So super simple, so let's get started. I placed a damp paper towel underneath my cutting board to keep it from sliding around, and I cut my bacon. I used about 1/3 pound for this smaller batch, and I'm just gonna take it out and cut it into small pieces. And because it was slightly frozen, it was much easier to cut than if it was just refrigerated. I break up the pieces just a little bit, and then we're gonna add them to a cold pan. This is the trick for getting crispy bacon. So add it to a cold pan, turn your heat to medium, right around there. Let the bacon cook while you work on the Brussels sprouts. So this is probably my least favorite part of Brussels sprouts, but I like to go through each and every one and take off any loose or discolored leaves that are on the outside. So I went through all of these, peeled off any loose leaves. I had a small bowl set aside so I could toss anything I wanted to discard right in there. Then I'm gonna go through and cut off the bottom stem part. So go through and cut every single stem off, discard those, and then comes the fun chopping part. So you want to make sure that you keep an eye on your bacon and give it a few quick stirs here and there. You just want it to render down and get crispy. So now comes the fun chopping part, and this, amazingly enough, how simple this is, makes the biggest difference with these Brussels sprouts. It's the way you cut them. I don't know what it is, it changes the texture of it, but I absolutely love it. After your Brussels sprouts are all cut up, you want to give your garlic a good smack, peel it, and then chop that as well. And there you have it. You have all your chopped Brussels sprouts, your chopped garlic, so we're ready to start cooking this. And I cook my Brussels sprouts in the same pan that I cook my bacon, so this is a one-pan meal. You want to take your bacon out when it gets to this point and just put it on a dish or a bowl on some paper towel just so that you can drain the excess grease off. And I like to use some of the bacon grease to cook my Brussels sprouts in. It adds a lot of flavor, but I don't like to use all of it. Feel free to if you want to, but I took about 3/4 of this out and then added a little bit of extra virgin olive oil before I added the Brussels sprouts. So you just want to add them in, and keep in mind that these Brussels sprouts are going to cook down a lot. It's very much like spinach. It cooks down quite a bit. And at this point is when I like to season them. So I add a good sprinkle of kosher salt. I add a sprinkle of black pepper. Give that a good stir. You want to make sure that that bacon grease and the olive oil gets all over your Brussels sprouts. And my bacon and my bacon grease are set off to the side, as you can see. And if at any point that you feel like you want to add more bacon grease, feel free. See all those little bits on the bottom? So this is where you want to deglaze the pan. So I used 1/8 of a cup of water, the tiniest bit. And then you just use a wooden spoon and scrape up all those delicious bits to add flavor to your dish. I also added a sprinkling of garlic powder. You guys know how I am about garlic. And just let this cook for about 10 minutes. Now comes the decadent part. You want to add about half of your bacon, stir that in, and then turn your heat off. And if you really want to go the extra mile, add a tablespoon of butter and just let it melt. So let me know in the comments below, do you guys like Brussels sprouts? Is it something that you absolutely do not like? I was never a Brussels sprout fan until I made them this way. And now, like I said, this gets requested every single Thanksgiving. So now I'm gonna serve up a little bit of the Brussels sprouts and a little bit of this corn casserole so I can do a little taste test for you. I'll be honest, the best part about doing these videos was getting a little Thanksgiving before the actual day. All right, you guys, we're gonna give these a try. This corn casserole smells so good, I can't even tell you. And I have Brussels sprouts, and I promise, even if you guys don't think you like Brussels sprouts, give them a shot. So before I try this, because I'm honestly waiting for this to cool off a little bit, this cornbread is so versatile. If you like to add different flavor profiles, you can add green chili. Where are my green chili lovers? I absolutely love green chili. I'm sad that we don't get it up here. You can add jalapenos, you can add cheese, you can mix it up however you want. All right, so at the risk of burning my mouth, we're gonna dig into this. It's so hot. And I like to finish mine with a little tiny sprinkle of kosher salt. Just adds like a little something. It's so good, guys. It's fluffy, it's slightly creamy. I just love the texture of this. So good. You know what this would be good with? The rest of your Thanksgiving plate, like the gravy and the mashed potatoes and all that. So good. Okay, now let's try the Brussels sprouts. Did you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it, but they're like slightly crispy, and then some of them are soft, and then you have the crunch from the bacon and all that salty goodness. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I have a fun video coming out next week on 3 fun different ways on how to use up your leftover turkey. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel. I would love to have you join us. I hope you and your families have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I will see you in the next one.